Mm, mm, hey. Hello, hello, hello. Mm, yeah.
What's going on? It's your boy Just Prince.
And your boy Benny Musa.
Uh, Unfortunately, our lovely co-host Sugi's not here today. She's on vacation. She's still vacationing on a beach somewhere in Tulum, and we're just holding down the fort for her here today. But we are the Balance Effect podcast, where we definitely promoting uh healthy living, entrepreneurship, bossing up in every way possible, and everything between that. What's up, Kwam? How you feeling? What's up, Benny? What's going on, brother?
I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Nah, man. My man Benny was over here bitching about a pop filter not too long ago. So he just doesn't understand that. Guess what? I need to protect the investment, man. It's part of the brand.
Look at my face.
No, definitely. We gotta definitely protect the investment in the brand. But
Yeah.
don't worry, as we grow, everything else grows.
We gonna update
my
the pop filters.
My stomach would be slimmed down, but right now, quarantine, whatever. So I
Don't listen to him.
apologize.
Don't listen to him.
You get what I'm saying? It would
The
definitely
girl
trust
still
me.
call him Poppy.
And that, I mean, we're not gonna get into that this episode, so we're just gonna leave that alone right now. We're gonna definitely leave that alone right now.
Get them sugar.
Yo, this dude doesn't respect my shit. I'm getting upset now. I'm getting really upset right now. Like, there's clearly no freaking respect, man. This shit is annoying. But in all seriousness, this is the Balance Effect podcast episode 2. We're rocking out. It's me and Kwam. Sugi's not here, but we're gonna hold down the fort for her, like I said in the beginning. So, kind of to give you a recap of what we were talking about in episode 1, we were kind of giving an introduction to myself and Benny and kind of how I, started with this whole podcasting thing. We started off. I know I started off with trying to create a business where I can, use my talents and try to find, ways to motivate people and get people to work or live to their highest potential or find their purpose. So that's what I was doing intentionally, and what happened was that I, came up with the name The Balance Effect, because life is a balance, right? And then we moved towards just launching stuff on Instagram. I had Kwam, I had some other people there. I had definitely had my girl Carol. I had my man from the Roommates podcast in Atlanta. We definitely gonna check him out in October.
Yeah.
So we had a few people there that were all, in their, had their own way of doing things in their respective fields of business and how they came about and how they were able to maneuver through this quarantine. So that's how kind of we got started. So then I called Kwam, I called Sugi, and I was like, yo, listen, we just gonna go. We just gonna do this. You know what I mean? And I know I keep calling him Kwam because he's Kwam, but to the world he's Benny Musa, so it's whatever. But yeah, to me he's Kwam, so it's whatever. But no, Benny Musa, we just doing this and we trying to inspire people and show people that we're young, we're millennials.
Yes, sir.
We're the older millennials. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah. Back pain old.
You know what I'm saying? We the older millennials, but we definitely get into it. So kind of like in this first episode, what we gonna call it today, Kwam?
Actually, the second episode.
Oh yes, excuse me. Wow, sorry. See, this is authenticity. I fuck up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this is the second episode,
Mm-hmm.
and this episode we're gonna be talking about school and how we fucking think school is a fucking scam.
Ooh.
It's a scam. So we kind of gonna talk about our things and how we dealt with school and what came about it, and then touch on some other subjects. But I'm gonna let Kwam take over with the whole school thing because I have so much else to say. But I know he's a little bit more concise with his words than I am.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. I didn't finish, so I'm no expert on school, okay? So, for me, man, 2008 was just a weird time in life in general, right? It's like the whole, housing market crashing. A lot of people don't realize how much, like, those little, I won't say little, but events like that really affect you on an individual level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, the fact that it was you know um, we couldn't really afford to pay the ticket that I chose this from the school that I chose to go to my first year, being that there was a situation going on where we had to save the house and all these other things going on all at the same time, and just adapting to being a new adult is different for you depending on your sort of like income bracket, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was just like I'm going to school, but then I could barely afford books. You know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
I could barely afford the gas to get to my classes on time. You know, like having two jobs. But then it's like you have two jobs. That's a full-time job. Plus you're going to school. Like
Full time.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's not just like full-time at one job. It's 4 hours at the least. You get what I'm saying? At two different jobs, sometimes 80, 100 hour weeks sometimes if you play it right.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I thought was the right way to hustle. But I say all that to say, with all that time and energy you putting into these other companies and stuff like that, like you taking away from yourself and your ability to focus in school. So that was one aspect. The affordability aspect just made it real tough for me to really take my education seriously. And then you talk about distractions that will come up, being that I was when I was away for that year when we had first met. That was probably the best I've been as far as like school goes. Really taking what I'm doing seriously and stuff like that. But once I came back, that discouraged me, and just being around my hometown friends and stuff like that kind of distracted me from being able to execute. So that's like the emotional side to it. But I think we're talking about something a little more past just the individual.
Yes.
And that's more so the fact that the lack of knowledge that a lot of people go to school with, not just like your algebra and your calculus and stuff like that. We're talking about life knowledge. We're talking about understanding how the system works. It's something that a lot of even our parents sort of fail to teach. I hate to say it like that because I don't like to project that kind of energy, but I'm gonna say it like that because that's how I felt at the time. They failed to teach that because they have been brought up to just be implemented into the system, as opposed to creating a system or even understanding what they're working in. It's just like, I'm just gonna follow 1, 2, 3, and then I get 3, 4, 5, 6 back. I think that changed after 2008 for the world, period. You know what I'm saying? And we were in the midst of that change. I hate being so long-winded, but the point I'm trying to make is, for me, the scam was for me, the biggest thing about it was like the lack of information for going into school. Like, for example,
Right.
The way you're able to afford school when I was first going was a whole bunch of loans.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't even know half the name of them. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gabe will be able to tell you a lot better than I can, but for me, I just thought it was like, okay, like I did my job as far as like, getting my 3.0 grade point average in high school, or 2.7 or whatever it was. I thought I did my job and I just go to school and that's it. I wasn't concerned with how it was paid for, or what I have to do after I graduate. How to even play school properly, meaning it's really about the network. And the reason why you'd want to get into a prestigious school is because you're going to be going with prestigious families who afforded this from like their generation before. Those little key things that you learn in hindsight, which I'll be able to, of course, one day tell my children and my offspring and my legacy. But for me, it wasn't like that. I had to figure that out the hard way.
Right.
So all that added up to me eventually having to drop out and really play the game of life.
And we of course, like that's kind of like, I think everyone has to play the game of life, and I feel like what happens is that we are conditioned. I was talking to a few people about it, and I'm like, coming from a Hispanic home, Caribbean home, um, it's very difficult to kind of break that mold or that break that understanding of, you know, they feel, especially when it comes to like Hispanic, Caribbeans, all them people, they really feel that having a degree or having going to school and finishes is like the epitome of life. Like that's like the highest peak. Like you are successful, you made it, right? And obviously, maybe 50 years ago that was the thing, but now not so much, right? Because technology has changed. The way people make money has changed. Like now, people are legitimately making money through their phones.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of money.
So it's very hard for you to now condition yourself to want to just go to school for whatever experience. The reason why I wanted to talk about this and the reason why I feel so strongly about it, because I think that school is a scam, right? School is a scam to me because what? School, right? It's like basically, how can I explain it to you? Like school is a way to, it's like almost like it's supposed to be an institute for learning, but it's an institute for making money at the end of the day, because the cost of tuition, the cost of thing, the way they make their money through like basketball and football and all those things and sponsorships by all these bigger companies, and like for a very long time these players, they were called amateurs. They weren't able to even use that money or they weren't able to use their likeness, because then they wouldn't be considered amateurs, they'd be considered professionals, while the school is just footing the bill for them to, like, for instance, Zion went to Duke for free, right? Because he had a full ride. He only went there for 1 year. Do you know how much Duke made in that 1 year that he played? Almost $100 million, right? And
now the question would be, not to cut you off, but just to add like that devil's advocate. How much do you think it was to send Zion to school, full ride, knowing what you know about school?
How much? Okay, I tell you this. I think it was a very small fraction of how much Duke got out for what they'll pay for him to go to school.
The second question is, how do we know that Duke made money directly? That $100 million that you talked about.
Well, that's okay. So it will all be like, it's like NCAA. All those people benefited for, because what happens is that the way that these schools make money is when they get picked up by these big networks. So I'm talking about CBS, ESPN, all those other things, right? So what ends up happening is that you have these individuals that are able to, bring these big schools, because like, I mean, the big schools in college, you got the Dukes, the Syracuse, the UConn, what's that, Arizona, Penn State, what's that, Florida, all those type of places, and UNC, all these type of places are big schools. So these big schools or whatever, these are like major programs. So they already are conditioned to a certain standard. So every top recruit for like any type of sport is going to be highly recruited to go to those type of schools, because that also brings more money to the school, sponsorships, and you also have people that graduated from the school that also are like sponsors, that they give, I don't know the correct term, but they basically give money to the school. You know what I'm saying? I think it's bouncers, or I forgot the name of it right now. It like escapes me, but basically they pay major money for the school. You know what I mean? And like that stuff is big business. Big football, basketball, that's big business. You know what I'm saying? So it's a scam at the end of the day, because at the end, like, if you're not an athlete and you're not getting a full ride, you're gonna be footing up $50,000 to go a year to school. And at the end of the day, if you don't go get a job that's gonna make $100,000, you still, like, it's not gonna equate to the amount of debt that you get, right? So I use myself as an example. When I went to school there, this was like 2006, 2007. I went there to Franklin Pierce University. I was there. I wanted to get away from my house. I was like, yo, I'm just gonna go away. And that was probably the biggest mistake of my life, because I didn't, like you said, it was a lack of understanding, right, of what I was getting myself into. I was initially given my financial aid package was like this. It was $5,600 from Pell, and that was for the entire year. So just rounded off to maybe $2,700 per semester, right? Then I was getting an $11,000 SAP. Then I was getting an additional $6,000 Stafford loan. Right, and I didn't understand what a Stafford loan was, but at the end of the day, it's a subsidized loan from the government, whatever, right? So basically, I got that, and then that loan, I didn't know I had to pay back. I thought it was part of my financial aid package. So I was like, oh, they basically giving me $11,000 to go to school, when I had to pay that back. So really, what they was giving me was like chump change, but to the cost of tuition there at that time, this was 13, 14 years ago. To go there was $32,000 a year, right? So $32,000 a year, I still have to foot a bill of upwards of $20,000, right? So where's that coming from? Now I have to go to take a private loan. When I go take a private loan, because I have no credit or whatever, I need to get a cosigner. When I get the cosigner I used didn't have the best credit, but at the end of the day, I had to use them. So when I used the cosigner, I signed a loan for $21,000, and it was at 9% variable. So 9% variable meaning, depending on the market, it will be no lower than 9%, but it can go upwards of 16-20%, and that's the interest rate of the money. So the way that the lenders make money is that the longer that you're in it, right, the more money that you have to pay. They are betting against the debt of how long it will take you to pay down that debt. So then when you go to school and you pay all this debt, right, it's like, okay, I went to Franklin Pierce, I signed 2 loans. It was that one and a $19,000 one the next year. The first year I went to Franklin Pierce, I was on academic probation. I fucked up. Like, I'll be honest with you. But then I had some money from an accident. I went to summer school, got my grades up, and I was able to come back the following year. That's when we met. And then I just kept messing up, right? And then to the point that I was academically dismissed or suspended. Not dismissed, suspended. Dismissed would be kicked out. I was suspended. So I wasn't able to go back the following year, but I didn't because at that time I was already in $39,000 in debt with 1.9 GPA and no degree, right? So I come home and I'm just like, yo, this shit is a scam. So then what I do, I go back and I go to another school and I go check out more loans in another school. Yo, I didn't get a degree in that school either. Ended up dropping out, right? I became a professional student because I didn't know what exactly I was going to do. Now, I want to tell you that school is a scam if you do not know what you want to do.
Right.
You want to go to school to be a doctor, go to school to be a teacher, go to school to be whatever. But if you do not need to go to school for it, and you could just pay for a course to do it, it'll save you money on the back end, fine. Like, I would tell whenever I decide to have kids, like, if my kid want to be a cop, okay, cool. You could go to community college, you go get 60 credits, and you go be a cop. Even though I would probably be against it because I'm a little, with the whole Black Lives Matter and the way that, the system and stuff like that, and the history behind police in this nation, particularly. But just an example, like, listen, if you can save money, like, I would want my children, and I would want all the viewers and our listeners to definitely look at this and say, like, yo, I don't want to come out of school and be behind the 8 ball. I don't. Right. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute to me. Like, what the hell am I doing this for? Right. You going to school? I was like, oh, you're bugging. Like if I had known what I know now at 31 at 19, 18, things would have been different. Yeah. Right. But then I finally, I got my shit together. Went to school, graduated. I'm teaching now and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it wasn't fulfilling. Right. I went to school. Blah blah. I paid. My job paid for it. Some of it, I paid the other rest. It was definitely a lot cheaper than what I paid, right? But see, it's like that lack of knowledge. And what I'm saying is that, like I was saying, that goes to say that, like, with the whole, condition of my parentage and my childhood and stuff like that, and what was instilled in me is what was deemed as successful, right, hindered me as far as where I would have been now if I had known better then, right? because you're conditioned to just be like, yo, go to school, get a job, have a family, pay your bills, die.
Mm-hmm.
That's not life, bro.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? That's not life, because guess what? When my parents were growing up, it was way cheaper,
Yeah.
way more dangerous than it is now, right?
Mhm.
So to speak, right?
Mhm.
And they live life okay. They live life just fine.
Mhm.
So we should be able to live right in what makes us happy.
Mhm.
If it's simple, yeah, no. But I know that I know what I'm destined for, right? And that's why it's all about, living like your life's purpose and doing what you feel is right. I feel like my life purpose is to inspire, to plant that seed for that next entrepreneur, that next businesswoman, that next life a life coach, change maker, you know what I'm saying, politician, whatever you want to be. I'm the person that I will never judge a person for what they want. If your dream is to be a janitor, that's your dream.
Mhm.
If that's what you feel is your life purpose, that's your life purpose,
Mhm.
right? I will never look at somebody down because of their life purpose. What I feel is that I want you to live to your fullest potential. Like Nip said, find your purpose or you wasting air.
Mhm.
I'm tired of wasting air. That whole, trust me, that whole going to the club, going out, spending money, trying to look fly, blah, blah, chasing women, it's over. It's over. I need to live my life's purpose. So to speak. But yeah, that's my take on school and why I think it's just a fucking scam. Like it's a fucking scam. You come out with a whole bunch of debt. Even doctors be defaulting on their loans, man.
Mhm.
They default on their shit all the time.
Well,
You know.
here's the thing. Again, I think Monopoly is like the best game ever
Right.
because that's
Right.
really what this whole thing is about. It's about learning the rules of this complicated game we call the United States and play it to your best of your ability. Find the advantages and the disadvantages. I mean, some doctors probably just default on their loans because then they can push back when they have to pay it. Some doctors will push their payment so far back until they're retired.
Yeah,
Like,
no, but it's
just-
like if a doctor is not paying this shit,
Mhm.
I'm a freaking teacher, dog. It's like, you think I'm gonna pay my shit?
Yeah.
Them doctors be paying loans up to the wazoo. They got 350,000, 400,000, $500,000 in loans. They don't be paying their shit. Why you hassling me?
Yeah,
Nah, man.
right. I mean, again, it's just it's so funny because it kind of exposes the whole thing of school really exposes like you in the society, if that makes any sense. Like,
Yeah,
think about how like
of course. Mm-hmm.
you got people who are doing well for themselves and know some things about this country, and their experience of school is way different than someone who is middle class citizen, and that's like their family's first person that went to an actual college, and you kind of see the difference in the jobs they get, the people they know, the schools they go to, so again, for me, it's just knowing the rules of the game with anything you do, anything you do, in school being included. Camera die? Okay.
There's another battery in there.
Yeah. So yeah, just change the battery.
Just change the battery.
Um.
You want me to pause it?
No, we gotta pause it.
Alright.
Where was I at? Yeah. Just again, just going back to what I said, just learn the rules of the game. It's so funny, like a lot of us millennials are now our kids. If you haven't had kids already, are starting to get to those ages where they're probably entering like middle school, maybe some high school, maybe they just turned 15 or whatever the case may be. And I think it's important that we start to spread this kind of knowledge so that they can have a chance of being like, okay, cool. When my son or daughter reaches that age where they're about to go to college, that I've done the research on the different schools that they could potentially go to based on on the family's financial income. You ever notice that when they do your financial aid, they base it off of your family's income because they understand that it's not just a one parent, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
the whole the whole family is literally investing into that person that is going to school. You get what I'm saying? That's how the system was built before, and it's carried into now. So if that's the case, if this is how they're interfacing it, if you will, then you as a family should get together and really figure out, okay, son. Like, for example, me and my mother never had this conversation, and if we did, I don't think she articulated it in a way that I'd be like, okay, I understand. But then again, I was 18 years old, so you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
But like, she knew that we wasn't able to afford that school to begin with, right?
Mhm.
But she sent me there in hopes that like something would happen. But let's all be realistic. Community college to start off with would have been my best bet based on our bracket.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying?
And the grades.
The grades were good enough to go to that school because I got accepted.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
clearly,
It was accepted to everybody, bro.
it,
You right. My shit was fucked up too.
but I didn't have.
My shit. What's the 77? What's the 7? When I graduated high school, it was I had all my reasons, but I think I graduated with an 82.
Yeah.
So that's like what, a 3.0, right?
But that's not bad if you're talking about. It's not a 4.0, but like
Yeah.
then it's that's another conversation as far as like how well you're supported for
Mhm.
going to school, how much distraction you have going to school and all that stuff. But the point is like it was good enough to get accepted, whether they were doing a mass acceptance or not. They wasn't accepting nobody that was having like a 1.5 or like.
No. Yeah. Of course.
They had to see that like
There was some type of
right.
academic. I don't know what's that called. Like some type of.
There's a potential there.
There was a potential for you to be like supersede what you had your performance in high school. Yeah.
So, the objective way of thinking about that would have been go to this community college, do your 2 years, figure out what you want to do, preferably figure out what you want to do before you even go into any type of school.
Right.
And then from there, they see that it's proven that you can do well in that kind of structure and that rigorous of a program, and they can move you to the to a better school. It's how I should have plotted it out, but the dream as it was sold was, no, you want to go to a 4-year,
Right.
get your bachelor's, all that kind of stuff, and some people just can't afford that. They just can't.
Nah, you're right. They can't really necessarily afford it, and it's all these other people in these communities. Their parents, like for instance, in like the Jewish community, they have bar mitzvahs. When you're 13, you become a man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so they giving you $50K or $30K or whatever, or they giving you a deed to like some type of land or whatever, right? You have some type of footing, right, to be able to make it, right? But us minorities and what we kind of go through and stuff like that, we aren't conditioned with that type of thinking. Like, for instance, when I started this or whatever the case would be, I had to start it on my own. Nobody was gonna believe in my dream, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect anybody to sponsor me or look for me to or look at me and want to be a part of what I'm part of, because that's not their dream. That's not what they want to do. But in those communities, right, it's very easy for you to go to your uncle and be like, hey, I got this idea. Can I get 20K?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here goes 20K.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that.
Right.
I don't have that luxury,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have that luxury to do something like that. Like, I have all these ideas, right? I have all these things that I want to do. And, I've realized that in order for me to do that, I had to sacrifice and I had to take it upon myself to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, sheesh, if I don't do it, nobody gonna do it. I didn't come from a millionaire. I didn't come from money. So money gotta come from me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I felt that had I known what I know now, then I probably would have never gone to that school. I probably would have even never met. But I guess school is not that much of a scam, because I met probably one of my best friends, right?
right.
So like we were able to connect, and we've been straight ever since then. It's 12 years, man.
Mhm.
Like,
It's a long
you
time.
know what I'm saying? A long time
Long
where
time.
we've connected and we stayed close and always stay in contact. contact, and you know, I came to you with this idea of trying to do this, and you was all with it, and even helped me in, you know, kind of like strategically how to do things and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, no one is an island. No one person is an island. They're always gonna need help.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate you for that and stuff like that. And Suki as well, you know, even though she's on the beach and stuff like that. But, you know, tanning and all that. We over here in New York and shit like that, tanning with the light, like, oh, you know. But no, seriously, like I said, if I had known what I know now, then I probably would have never gone to that school. I probably would have maybe even gone to community college. I probably would have been at a better place, right? And then it's like also the understanding of, like, you know, your finances and that and those things. They don't teach that in school. Did they teach you that? I didn't know. Like, my mom told me what it was to balance a checkbook, because my grandmother was like very meticulous when it came to that. Like, she like, okay, this is the money that came in, this is the money that came out. This is I'm supposed to have left. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, it's just like like you know, no pun intended, but it's a balance. And I feel like with school, like, you constantly going to school and there's no real balance. You know what I'm saying? In this country, there's no real balance. You know what I'm saying? There's no real balance in the sense that you literally I'm putting myself included. I literally, pre-COVID, right? It was just straight up come home.
Yeah.
Or leave my house wake up in the morning, take a shower, brush my teeth, go to work for 8 hours, go teach at night, get home at like 9-10 o'clock, shower if I get, because, like, you know, I was starting to kind of go back to the gym again, trying to get my body right or whatever. But it's also it's kind of hard, right? Because it's like I condition myself to constantly be working. So it was like, you know, now I'm taking the time where I need to focus on everything. Everything is, like I said, is a balance, right? Everything has to have a balance. When it's too much of anything, it's not gonna be good. It's not good for you. So that's kind of where I'm at with it, and that's how I feel about schooling particularly. You know, straight up, like, that's just what it is. Like, I would tell anybody that. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I graduated school, like, I had some family members tell me, like, are you happy? Are you content? Like, you have access now. And I was like, what fucking access are you talking about? What access? Access to what? To more money? Did
they ever tell you, like, what that meant?
It was more of like, I guess I'm more accessible to better paying jobs, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm not gonna leave the Department of Education where I'm off in the summer to go work 12 months at the year and only get 2 weeks off when I get 10 weeks in the summer alone. Right? Teachers only work 180 days a year, right? Even though we do work hard, granted, and COVID's been more difficult right now, so to speak, but it's just like, damn, you know what I mean? Look at all the shit we got to go through. But when they said, when that particular family member said access, I was just like, bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What access are you talking about? Like,
well, what from your perspective, what opportunities could you have gotten from your degree in hindsight? Like, what do you feel like you could have done? Because when you say you became a teacher, it's not that you were settling, but I feel like at that moment,
no, I feel like I settled. I settled.
Okay, so we'll call it that.
I feel like I settled. I feel like I settled because at the end of the day, teaching is great, but it wasn't my calling at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I felt like my calling has always been youth development. And when I mean youth development, it's not necessarily teaching. Youth development is talking about restorative practices, being able to bridge that gap between school life and home life, right? Understanding the days in and day out to be able to cope with things, behavior management, shit like that. That's what I wanted to do. Not necessarily day in, day out instruction, right? So that was what I was doing most of my, I guess, my working career as far as like youth development. I was in charter schools, I was in after school programs, I was doing outreach and stuff like that, advocacy. That's what I was really doing. That was more of my passion. But all that stuff is it's good and all, but the pay wasn't great. So obviously, when you transition to teaching, it's more secure and stuff like that. And that was what it was. It was conformity.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not. One of the things that I want to preach is fuck conformity, right?
Yeah.
Live to your highest potential. Even like, yo, listen, shoot for the stars, ain't for the moon. RP Pop Smoke. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Like, shout out to Floss and all them. You know what I'm saying? Red Autumn.
Yes, sir.
But like at the end of the day, it's
Leaf.
like, bro, why I gotta worry about conformity for?
Well,
I'm not a conformist. I'm not somebody that's just gonna bend for whatever. That's not what we do.
I think
you know what I'm saying?
I think you have to look at the privilege of knowing. There's that. You ever heard of the allegory of the cave?
Yes, Plato.
Yeah. So that's simply what it breaks down to. I mean, for those of you who don't know, basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, a bunch of guys are in a cave. They're looking at like a shadow of like an image, but someone's doing an image behind them. They're looking at it at the wall the whole time, right? And then one person decides to turn around, and they're like, "Oh, that's what that is." And then that starts their adventure to then end up outside in the outside world and be like, "Oh, this is super overwhelming."
Right. That's the gist of it.
That's
yes.
the gist of it. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Because I feel like in that story there was so many points it was trying to like teach you.
It's like a juxtaposition of I don't know, it's like cross disciplines almost, right? Like as far as like the thinking, what happened, like how were they able to kind of translate like being in the cave and kind of the depth of perception and stuff like that. So all that was kind of like in play in that. And I guess like the gist of it was basically, I honestly, what I took from it was never take life too seriously and too literal, right?
Yeah.
It's more of like live your life the way you see fit.
And that's how you know that something was a good piece of art, when it can translate like that.
Yeah, because it makes you think.
Yeah, but I say that to say, somehow, both of us sitting here were the people that turned around, or were forced to be turned around. And 70% of people out there, well, COVID might have changed all that, to be honest with you, because now everybody was forced to sit down and have conversations with themselves they never had before.
Right.
But before that, you were blessed with that vantage point. And I think that's why it's easy for us to say, fuck conformity.
Right.
But let's take it back, and let's really allow people to understand or start to have a conversation of, what do I love to do? And then you start to say to yourself, okay, if I love to do that, how do I make money off of it?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's
the balance effect,
that's
baby.
the balance.
That's the balance effect. Finding what you love and understanding that this is what it is, and then you actually flip it and use it as a tool to motivate and push the masses.
And the reason why I wanted to make it that simple is because I don't think purpose is a very vast,
very broad, right?
very ocean-like,
very general.
Yeah. And I think for me personally, it always changes depending on who you are. Some people, they maintain a particular purpose, all the time. And I think maybe certain things stay consistent, but I feel like it could change with the whirlwind. You know what I'm saying? It could change with the world's wind, I should say. And that's why I like to take it back and just say, like, for all the viewers and listeners, like, what do y'all love to do? Start with that first.
Right.
Start with your passion and then have it grow from there,
Yeah.
For sure.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing.
Cause even listening to your story, as far as like how you ended up becoming into the education side of it, my mind is saying, well, the whole time you could have had your own organization, non-for-profit,
right,
which is something I think you've talked about doing too.
Yes, that's eventually God willing, through this process. The balance effect is like it's an umbrella
Mhm.
of many things. This is the first form. We have other things that we're doing. But yeah, like eventually that's what I want to do. I feel like the best way, because I honestly, like, these young kids, I don't think that we're that
Not at all.
far from where they're at. Like, I'm talking about the 18, 19, 20-year olds, like, you
Just
know.
like I know, like when we was kids, I remember terrorizing teachers.
Yeah.
But for us, we felt like it was for a reason. We
Mhm.
felt like we can smell it off you didn't care about
Yeah,
us.
you didn't care about us, or that
So
you
you see-
just,
yep.
this was just a job, right?
Right.
So, like I remember, like, so for instance, like, I know that, what was, damn, so we talking about 2007. So 2006, we still had the reign of Jim Jones
Mhm.
off of Ballin'. That was big.
Yo,
Going into
the chains
2000s.
on the belts. With
Yo, I'm talking about you had the, yo, me and Ron used to have all the ACGs, all the True Religions, all the Red Monkeys. We had the Skulls on it. We was still copping CDs from Loco up in the Heights. That's when mixtapes was bubbling.
Mhm.
RP Stack Bundles was bubbling. Max B's was on the verge of the come up. You know what I'm saying? So, like, then it was like, then I got into, like, I was still also in my BBC Ice Cream and Pharrell Heavy and what were we doing back then?
Bape might have just hit the scene.
No, Bape was, I was wearing, oh, I wasn't wearing it because I couldn't afford it. Well, I had one Bape sneaker, but it was literally because I had saved all my money from working in the library to buy it, because back then, to get a pair of Bapes
Yeah.
was retarded.
I mean, they still expensive
And
now, but
yeah, they expensive now, but it's like, it was like I remember I had the purple ones. It was like the purple star, and it was the gel, and it had the see-through bottom on the toe
yeah.
and stuff like that, and it was white and purple, and then I had the monkey with
Mhm.
the Bape monkey, and it said Bape across, whatever. That's what I had, and that's what I was into. And then, like, you know, you had the ice cream sneakers, the furrow joints, and then, like, then it was like, and I was still an avid 50 Cent fan too. And then that war came about when I went to school, when it was him and Kanye fighting or whatever the case
Oh
may be.
yeah, for graduation.
And Curtis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was the big thing. I mean, yo, TRL was still out at that time. So, like, I knew what it was. Like, it was very trendy in New York at that time. This was right before the market crash. You know, it was a lot. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of things going on. So I could relate to the changing of the guard for, like, the kids that have it now, have now, right?
Mhm.
So, like, we was living, when I was in high school. I went to high school during the Bush years. You know what I'm saying? I went to high school during the Bush years. Talking about 2002, 2003, 4, 5. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I went to school during that time. So then these kids are going to school. We're going to school during, like, Trump
time. It's very similar.
You know what I'm saying? It's very similar. So, like, I could definitely understand, like, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And, like, I understand, like, what they're going through, because we kind of went through it, so to speak,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, I get it. I get it 100%. 100% get it.
And wow, there is a lot of parallels, even with the resurgence of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Where in 2014, 13, 14, 15.
Like, it was 2012 Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
Then 2014 heavy with you know, Ferguson,
Right.
with Mike Brown.
Yeah.
And, like, the water crisis in Flint.
Yeah.
And all that shit happened during Obama years, man.
Now-
and, like,
now,
I
mind
was
you,
very
those-
critical of that.
And mind you, those kids that are out there now, they were like 12,
Mm-hmm.
10 in 2010 and 2012. You get what I'm saying? And that's the generation right after us. So
Yes.
that was a good point. A lot of parallels between us.
A lot
two.
of parallels, so we can kind of relate to, like, some of the stuff they're going through. Like, back then, there wasn't a lot of money that like, they wasn't summer youth or whatever. Like, when I was a kid in high school, like, I was working summer youth, and I had my own job and stuff like that, so I could still, like, even the sneakers, we was able to afford something. You could get fly, you could take a girl to the movies. Now it's like you gotta hustle, you gotta do what you gotta do, you gotta do different things to compete. Everybody wanna. And that's the mentality I'm trying to, change. Like, stop trying to look rich and be broke. Be rich, and you could. It's all right if you want to look rich and you rich. That's fine. But at least be rich. Don't look rich. You get what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we buying all these clothes, buying all these stuff for all these people. Those people's making money. What are you making money? This one of the things I tell my students, like, cause he's like, yo, mister, you fly, like, you wearing all the Yeezys, you got all this stuff, you come to work fly. I'm like, listen, but that's just what I like. If I was your age, I wouldn't even be caring about it. Because what I would want to do was, learn about, I was like, why don't you take $120 and buy Michael Jordan stock?
Yeah.
Go buy Jordan stock. Go buy Nike stock. Go buy Apple stock. All these products that you think, if you could pay for the product, you should pay for the stock. Because technically, you're investing in that. So you should have some ownership in that. I don't mind that.
Yeah. So like, just to add to your point, because my thing is, I think that you should have a healthy respect for desire and a healthy, like, you should have a healthy desire. Like, I don't mind, because look, like you said, they were able to afford to buy those clothes.
I mean, their parents bought it for them, but yeah.
Nonetheless,
they bought them. They got them.
Right.
Like, I'm talking about this. This is one kid that his moms, they lived in, like, one of the most obscene places, right? But her kid was always fly.
Right.
She drove a crazy car. I'm talking about. I don't even got a what's that? Oh my God, I forgot those jackets. I can't even tell you right now. But it's not a Vanson. Vanson's like my era, but these are $1,000 leathers, and they're biker jackets.
But I don't
like the cheapest ones.
Yeah, see, I don't try to discredit that because I think that's important. I think that, okay, cool. In that example, his parents got it for him. But the point is that he understands how it feels to look good and know, like,
it's a feeling.
Yeah, that's important. The other side to it, though, is like you said. Okay, if you're gonna buy that, you should figure out how to own it. You should figure out how to make it.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Like, that's what we need to be telling these kids, instead of telling them, like, man, don't be wasting your money on every single Jordan, because they're gonna do that anyway.
They all gonna do it anyway.
But it would be dope if you telling them, like, oh, I see you got those Jordans. I think you should look into their stock.
Yeah, that's what I tell them. I said, listen, I think you should look. I said, if you like this product so much, you should own it.
Or go on the resale.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I said, and I used to tell them how I used to make money too, like selling sneakers. I'm like, okay, like, let's say if me and my brother, we able to pull up $2,000. Let's say you scrape up $2,000, and we'll be like, all right, what sneakers are coming out between now and Christmas? What's the most popular sneaker that we can buy, and how much can we get it for, and how many can we get? So I remember the first time we did it was when the Concourse came out. This is 2011.
Yeah, 2011.
And I was like,
December
2011. I was like, all right, cool. So this is what we gonna do. I got 1,500. Well, how much you got? Oh, I got 5. I got 7. Okay, let's go get these Jordans. How much we get the Jordans for? All right, he's saying the retail back then for those Concourse, when they came out in 95, it was like 120. When they came out in 2011, they was 200. That was the first time that Jordans was $200. So we was like, and that was
taxes because they were 180.
Yeah, we had. Well, no, the box was 200.
Nah, I had when I.
It was I remember the 10s that when I went up to Worcester, the Chicago 10s. Those was the first time they was retro, and I got them I still got them crisp.
Yeah.
Those joints.
Man, I missed them shits, bro.
Them those joints, I got them for. I paid $160, and it was like $167 when I went up there to Worcester when I got them with you. But so I go to say this. My brother's like, oh, I gotta connect with my man in Jersey. He works in Foot Locker. He could get us 9 pairs, and we could get them each for box value. So 200, times 9, right? That's about 1,800. So we had the bread, so to speak, right? So we got them, right? But now everybody, that was the first time in a long time that, first of all, like if you know the history, Jordan had a decline
Yeah, before
before that shoe
I
came
remember
out,
that.
because he wasn't really reproducing any of the signature line.
Yeah, he was
So
making like
one
the
through
6 rings.
yeah, he was making dub zeros and
The
a whole bunch of
dubs.
it was bullshit. Like I never liked the dub zeros. I remember going to high school, people was wearing that with the snowman tees and stuff like that. And I love Jeezy. I got Jeezy. I'm repping Jeezy right now. But hopefully he sponsored the podcast. Let's see. But yeah, like it was a decline. So before that, when that shoe came out, that's when it was like, oh, Jordan coming back, blah blah. Oh, it's on. Then it started to. Then it was like, okay, every Christmas is going to come out with a dope sneaker, right?
Yeah.
So when me and my brother had gone online, I remember we went to 145th Street in Broadway, right in our old hood or whatever. Our grandmother still lived there. We went and we waited. We got there. What time we got there? We got there at 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock midnight, the line was going down to Riverside, past the McDonald's, right? So me and Tree was like, yo, you think we gonna get these? I'm like, yo, we just gotta see. So we stayed there till the store opened up at 8 in the morning, and we was there from 12. So we was there legit the whole night. And I didn't have a car at the time, so we definitely took the bus up there, the bus up there and all that.
That's before Uber, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's before Uber and all that. So we took it there. It was cold, raining. We stood out there. People got chairs and shit. I'm like, I had to go get him like a coffee from McDonald's so he could be good and stuff like that. And I had like a little hot chocolate and stuff like that with a little bit of French fry. But we was out there rocking. And then this is before he told me about the plug. So then we out there, we didn't hit nothing. They actually get into a fight.
That's how it always went.
They get into a fight. People trying to knock people's heads off for a pair of sneakers. So I'm like, damn, all right. So then I'm like, me and Tree like, oh fuck it, we gonna go across the bridge. We gonna go to the Bronx. We gonna go to 149 and see what 149 be looking like. Dub, Fordham, dub, and we doing this all literally public transportation. So I'm like, damn, okay. So then when he finally told me about the plug, I was like, okay, cool. We got 9 pairs. Me and him were able to get our pairs for free and make money on top of the money that we initially invested, because we got the sneakers at box price. So with the box price at $1,800, we put up. We sold each pair for an additional $200-$300 because they were nowhere to be found. You get what I'm saying? So I had them. Like people were selling, like people had like the B grade joints. The B grades are the ones that like they have the imperfections and stuff like that. They're not the original box shoe, right? And they were stores on Fordham in certain places, 2/5 they were selling them, but we were able to make money. And that was and I tell them that story because that's what kind of introduced me into kind of like the reselling and buying stuff and holding them and trying to flip them. We sold. I remember the most expensive pair of those Jordans that I sold was for $700. So literally, I paid in that one sale. I paid him. We paid both of our sneakers and some.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like it's an investment, and that's what I was trying to tell. That's why I tell my students. I'm like, listen, if you're gonna get, I'm heavy on the Jay-Z quote. If you can't afford it to buy it twice, you can't afford it. Right. So don't buy it. Like I'm not gonna jump out the window to buy something. Well, I know I'm gonna be fucked up for the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like them days of going broke to buy a fresh pair of sneakers.
No, that's
dead. Like I haven't done that since I was like 17.
Yeah. Whenever you want to take risks on your money or make investments, you should have the money.
You should have the money
three times over.
And this should be a way that you're able to always get your money back.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, yo, if you're gonna do the sneaker thing, you could always get your money back. Like Jordans and stuff like that because of like branding and all that. Yo, you could get a pair of Jordans and you could sell them for a whole bunch of money, depending on the condition and what you wear. Yo, I used to buy designer sneakers, and I could not get half of the money I paid on them sneakers. You get what I'm saying? Because it's like, okay, you wear them once, but them shits ain't everyday shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and plus, fashion changes every season. The color changes, the patterns, the schemes, what's in. One thing that's in is not. Plaid wasn't in, plaid's in now. Versace wasn't in, Versace's in now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a trend. So I always tell my students that like if you're gonna buy and invest in all these products, I love Kanye, but yo, I went on to Robinhood and I got some Adidas stock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we'll get into that. Like, well, it's more like stock options, but yes, I got some Adidas stock,
Right.
Yeezy stock. You know what I'm saying? Some Apple stock, Disney stock. Own some of this stuff so you could always get your money back for what you put in.
Mm-hmm.
Because trust me, these people did not. It did not cost them what they're selling it
Right.
to make the stuff that they're selling to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of my spiel for that whole school thing and all that stuff. It's a long thing, but anyway, kind of moving forward and to close out this episode, I wanted to definitely talk about R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman, right?
Mhm.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. You know, as you can see, I am not dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I definitely wanted to shout him out, man, because like, you know, definitely rest in peace, rest in paradise, rest in heaven. You know what I mean? I wanted to kind of, well, I'm gonna let you talk about it first because, yeah, it's just a lot, and I kind of gotta get my words together to talk about it because it really, really, really hurt me. Like, and I don't know this man
Mhm.
personally, but it did hurt me.
Mhm.
You know?
Probably if I'm just like not trying to assume, but just like looking at it from my perspective, I think the reason why I heard a lot of people is because of the shitty year 2020 has been.
Yes.
With
Yes.
a lot of people that
R.I.P.
we
Black Mamba.
loved in our community passing away. Like Kobe, Pop, Chad. It's just,
it's yeah.
if it's not that, it's just nasty. It's been nasty. That's why this hurts times 10 of what it or which the original reason why it would hurt is because he played Black Panther and that movie was historical and that's how everybody knows him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't look like he was gonna pass away anytime soon in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
There were I guess later on that his image had resurfaced and he was losing a lot of weight and nobody really knew why, but he was an actor, so they all figured it was just for a role.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that when people started doing the math, like, wait, 4 years since 2016, Black Panther came out this time. Oh, they started doing the math and started saying, wow, this man was going through that while he was filming like 4 or 5 different movies that hit. It's like, that just really, it just took people totally by surprise. And I think people are still trying to process the fact that this man is not making any more movie appearances. Like, and I didn't really follow him all too much,
Mm-hmm.
but things start to resurface as you know in people's passing, and I see that he was very active with talking about upliftment of the black community,
Yes.
black and brown community,
Yes.
and so that's another reason why it hurt so much as well. But what I do want to talk about, right? Because when it comes to people passing, I never want to talk about the gloominess. I want to talk about what they left behind. Other than his movies, I think it's a point to look at that he was doing this while he was in so much pain and suffering.
Right.
Colon cancer is no joke. We're talking about like a 90% fatality rate. It's like it doesn't come to play. And
Yeah.
the way it comes is that you don't know until it's too late.
Who was it? Was it something Fonda? I forgot who. I think it was Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
She died of that.
It's a beast.
It's just a beast, right? And it goes to show you of the stuff that you put in your body and like why like I'm definitely gonna be blogging my journey now from now until my birthday. I told myself that I was gonna get back in shape and I told myself that I was gonna do the right thing because that stuff really hurt, man. Like
Yeah.
it's like you don't like the man was relatively healthy, right? He looked healthy, right? But it's like you don't know what you put in your body and the type of stuff that you eat.
But before we get to that though, I just
Mhm.
want to finish the point by saying
Yes,
like
my fault. I'm sorry.
no, that because that was a good point too. um, somebody is always going through something worse than what you are perceiving is bad.
Right.
And the fact that he still worked through that, that should be a lesson to everybody. There's no excuse to get what you need done. And honestly, that was, like I said, I believe in higher power, I believe in God. Like, that was divine. That was like, for 4 years, you battled it, and when you found out it was stage 4, and it got held back for 4, it was what do they call it? Not, I don't think it was in recession, but
Mission.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you were able to fight that off for 4 years
Just
and
going
do the
through
movies
surgeries. Mm-hmm.
you made that some would argue that really strengthened the psychology of the black community.
Of
Like,
course.
come on, that's divine. That was meant to be. You know what I mean? God rest his soul, but that was meant to be. And then you passed at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's powerful. That's the real, that's the real gem right there.
Of course.
For sure, go all out.
Live to your greatest potential.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it hurt me a lot because it was okay. So one of the parts that were very difficult for me to watch because of my relationship with my father was a part when he became king. He was crowned king, and he went into the ancestral plane, right? And he sees his father. His father talks to his father, and one of the quotes his father says is, "A man that hasn't prepared his children for his demise or for his death was never a real father.
That's
Didn't
a fact.
didn't do a good job."
That's a fact.
Because he was so worried about being a good king and being a good thing and stuff like that. And he had his hang up with his dad. And you have to find your way, your path, right? You can never be your father. The sins of the father should not, cross over to the son. You know what I'm saying? And it one of the parts that stood out to me, and it was very hard because first of all, I feel like that was the greatest Marvel movie they ever created.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously Avengers Endgame beat it, but that's when I'm talking about money wise. But the joint made a couple $1 billion. You get what I'm saying? I went to go see that movie 3 times.
Yeah.
Like in theaters. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And I even bought the DVD. You know what I'm saying? Not the DVD, the digital copy or whatever, right? So it hurt me a lot because of the actor, right? Not the Black Panther portrayal. Yes, I loved it, blah blah. I had my thing with it, but the actor, right? So a lot of his work and his words of living your purpose, of finding yourself, what's important, how Denzel Washington also kind of like created his career because of being able to finance his thing to go away to school and stuff like that.
We gotta understand too. Shout out to Denzel Washington.
Nah, he does things quietly and you don't even know.
Yeah, and he, like, a lot of those guys understand putting people in place
Mm-hmm.
to carry on the legacy of the whole, like, diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
It's different with him and a lot of people he talks to.
Mhm.
That's why that's so brilliant. Like, he could have took whatever role it was or whatever or not the role. I'm sorry. He could have just not paid for him because he didn't know him, but he did that. Didn't even know if he was gonna be who he was, but took the risk on his own kind.
Right.
Like, that is special. That's special.
It's definitely special. And then like he did all these. So basically, 2016 he was diagnosed. 2016, for those who don't know, that's when Civil War came out. That's when he was officially introduced as the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
Right. 2018 comes out, Black Panther movie. Also in 2018. Is it 2018 or 2019? I don't know. I'm not sure. I forget. I think it was 2018. Black Panther came out. And then he reprises his role again in both Infinity Wars and Endgame, right? And I guess bugged out like how in Infinity War they made their great stand in Wakanda. You would think they'll do their great stand in America, something like that. No, they did it in Wakanda. Why? Cause black people fucking rock, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck out of here, like that shit crazy to me. But he did that. I say this to say that throughout this time, through his pain, kind of picking up back what you were saying, he was able to accomplish all those things. So like I was telling my brother, if that shit don't inspire you, bro, yo, he did Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Endgame, Infinity Wars, Black Panther. He worked with Spike Lee. He did a whole bunch of other movies. He did some philanthropy work. He was one of the biggest donators for Make-A-Wish Foundation. He was going to deal with people that had cancer too, and you didn't even know he had cancer. And it's like, damn, bro, like if he could do that in 4 years, shit, I'm not doing enough. I'm not working hard enough.
That's a fact.
And I'm bitching about, yo, like, oh, I can't get people to fuck with me when I'm doing this. No, bro, like, do it yourself. Grind. When people see you grind, they gonna leech on regardless, because they gonna see that you doing something that you haven't done. So I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna push. So I say this to say, like, Chadwick Boseman is an inspiration. Rest in peace to him. You know, he inspired the world. Like, that movie, there was so much symbolism in that movie, even with the antagonist Killmonger. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I can heal you after he stabbed him. And he was like, nah, why? So you could lock me up? Nah, bury me in the ocean like my ancestors, because they even know that, you know, death is better than bondage. You know, that movie was great.
Yeah.
You know, and Chadwick Boseman was a great actor, and just, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's tough. You know, it's hard. If people say like, yo, why you crying over a celebrity, or why you so down over a celebrity, man? Like, you don't understand, like, what these people do there is inspirational. Kobe was inspirational to me. He was my favorite player. I have every, you know, I watched every game, everything. When he tore his Achilles, I saw all that. I saw his championship. I saw his downfall. I saw when I thought he was gonna go to jail for a long time when he did what he did, right?
Which he didn't do.
You know, when he didn't do, right? But what he allegedly, the way they tried to say that he did.
Yeah, it was
right. It was allegedly, and then guess what? They found out that shorty was just like, yeah, you can't, like, yeah, we just not gonna go with that. But anyway, yeah, we just gonna, like, I'm just, yeah, like, it's just inspirational, and like I'm always going to feel a way about people that have impacted me in some type of way, and both of those individuals have impacted me in an immense way, where I feel like that I have to live to my fullest purpose, live in the Mamba mentality, do what I feel, listen to my gut, and do what I feel is best for me, and live to be my best self every day, or work to be my best self every day, you know?
That's it.
You know, definitely. Yeah, that's just where I'm at with it, you know, with that one. It was sad to see him go. You know, another brother in this messed up times that we in. But we're going to keep pushing, we're going to keep inspiring, and we're going to keep doing what we feel is best for the culture, right?
That's what brings us here, man.
That's what brings us here every time, and I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate Suki. I appreciate my cameraman. When this happened, I literally called all my peoples, all my closest friends, and I said, yo, if I never said it enough, I love you. You get what I'm saying? I love you, because you know, this guy's an asshole. But no, seriously, like, I love you, man. Life is not promised, man. Life isn't promised, and it's short, but it's sweet. So live it. It's only but moments, and let's live it to our fullest potential. I'm gonna stop rambling.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's we're gonna wrap it up. Look out for episode 3 coming soon. I'm your boy Just Prince.
It's your boy Benny Musa.
Sugi is here in spirit, and we are the Balance Effect. See you. We out. Peace.